Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Benson Experience episode. I'm joining you today virtually. I've got a very, very special guest with me today as well. He has a very interesting story, and luckily for us, he's welcomed me to share that story with us, and hopefully we can all learn something about his situation and moving forward as well. And just pleased to say I'm joined now by, I believe the pronunciation is Sylv. And yeah, he's a French teacher from France. He's got a very interesting story, but I'm going to allow him to introduce himself a little bit more to us, and we'll take it from there. Hi, Sylv.
Right. Thank you so much. My name is Sylv, and I'm a French teacher. I lived in Ukraine for 3 years, and yeah.
Perfect. So,
So mhm,
so as I was saying, so yeah, as everybody just heard there, you obviously spent 3 years living in Ukraine, which I imagine was a good experience for you for some times, because obviously otherwise, why would you travel over there? Not too many of us probably in UK or elsewhere are familiar with Ukraine, exactly what it's like living there, etc., especially for somebody who's not a national or a citizen originally. But also, let's be honest, we're all fully aware of the situation that's currently happening in Ukraine with Russia, etc. I believe from speaking to you previously, actually, Sylv, you've recently moved away from Ukraine since all of this has happened. So, if it's
mhm.
okay with you, I think I'd love to know a little bit more about how you actually managed to get out in terms of when, what was that process like for you?
Okay. It was so difficult when I was in Ukraine. It was difficult to find the way to go out of the country because there were everywhere traffic jams, and I decided to go to Lviv. Lviv is a city close to Ukraine-Poland border. So from Lviv to Poland, it's gonna just take you like 1 hour by car. So I went over there with my girlfriend. She's a Ukrainian girl, and when we arrived, uh, there were plenty of people. Like I would say, like maybe 5,000 people. It was huge of people, and yeah, Ukrainian border didn't allow black people to cross the border. They just allowed Ukrainians, women and kids to cross the border. So it was kind of racist because they didn't even allow black women to cross the border. So that was terrible. It was a bad, really bad experience.
Of course, and that's crazy. And these are some of the videos I'm sure me and some of the other people, the shocking videos we've seen. And what I find interesting is that in a time of terror and danger for everybody, still somehow racism manages to kind of
Mhm.
fitting into society, which is crazy. I mean, how did you feel at that moment when you could see the trains and you can actively see that somebody like you or myself being denied
Mhm.
access? I mean, how did you feel? Was you scared, I imagine?
Yeah, I really scared. But what hurt me a lot is because I was with my girlfriend. She's a Ukrainian girl, and I said, "Let's cross the border." So one border guard came to me and say, "I will not cross, but he will allow my girlfriend to cross." She said, "No, he's my husband, and I'm pregnant. I cannot go alone." He said, "I don't care. You can go, but with him, he will not pass." I was like in shock because that was the first time being a victim of racism. So I was like, why you are not allowed me to go? Why? Why not me? So it just pushed me like a thief,
Mhm.
and I was just like, okay. I called my girlfriend. I said, let's go back. It was during winter, and we stayed at the same place waiting like 24 hours. We didn't have a place where to sleep. It was very cold, and we didn't even sleep. We just stood and wait. Maybe they will open. We tried to go to another place because it was like different gates. First, it was difficult to cross. We tried to go another place, And when we try, the people, they say, okay, here we need like three lines. First was for Black people, the second was for Ukrainians, and the third was from Arabic. So like Chinese, no, it was like mixed, brown people, I would say. It was for brown people. So my girlfriend told me to be with her in the
Mhm.
line of Ukrainians. And yeah, that was like, you, even Ukrainians, they told me, no, you are Black, you cannot stay here. And when she said, he's my husband, they allowed me. So I understood that they have power in their country,
Mhm.
but the foreigners, they don't have anything to say. So it was a bit a shock also to see that only white could pass at that time, because they even take some brown people, but most of Black people, they were victim of those racists.
And thank you for sharing that with me. And it's 2022, and I honestly can't believe that me and you are having this kind of conversation. And it sounds like prior to this situation, you'd been there for 3 years, and
Yeah.
that you didn't really experience too much issues prior. Is that fair?
No, no, I didn't experience any racism in Ukraine when I was living for 3 years. It's just at that time when when they have war, it was like awful. And after that, I tried to go to another border, and then I saw the difference because I went to a Slovakia border.
Hmm.
So I went back to Lviv. I took a train and go to Uzhgorod. Uzhgorod is another city. From Uzhgorod, I took a taxi and go to border. There's a border, Ukraine, Slovakia, and I didn't experience any racism at that border. They allowed all Ukrainians and foreigners to cross the border uh, without any problems, and they took care of people. They gave even food, coffee, tea. It was amazing. It was just different. It was different.
That's really welcoming to hear that actually you had one really bad, terrific situation, and then you can go to the other side at the country and you get
Yeah.
some good hospitality. So it's good to know that there are some good people out there. But let me ask you this: once you finally cross the border, right, and you've now in your home of Paris in France, tell me about the feeling you had of relief.
Um, to be honest, I'm not in peace. Even I'm in Paris. I feel like my mind still with Ukrainians, and because I left my girlfriend in Ukraine. She didn't want to go with me to Slovakia border because she had that bad experience. She stood for 2 days and she didn't sleep, and she thought maybe she would have the same experience in Slovakia border. So she didn't want to go along with me, and I went alone. And now she didn't want to come. She doesn't want to move to another country because she think maybe she will be victim of racism also. So she will stay in Lviv and wait until the war will finish.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I'm checking news all the time, and
Of
I'm
course.
worried about many foreigners in Ukraine and for Ukrainians.
And in terms of that, your girlfriend, and obviously you've been there for years, so you have a social group and friends. I'm imagining you were communicating with them as much as possible. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously you are not there, but you're up to date. So, I mean, what how are they right now? Are they safe? Are they is their daily life changed? Do they still go to work every day?
No, 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 no. They are not going. They are scary about their life. And I have one of my friend is from Nigeria, and I explained to him how I crossed Slovakia border, and I took the risk, and he did it, and he succeeded. And now it's in Germany. Most of them, they are very scary to take the risk. That's the problem. They can't do it. They can just take uh, a train from Vauxhall, because Vauxhall is a train station
Mhm.
from Kiev Vokzal, and you will take a train to Uzhgorod. It's a city. From Uzhgorod, you just cross the border. You will not have any problem in Slovakia. But most of people, they are going to Lviv, or in Lviv, there's plenty of people. It's difficult to cross over there. So it's better just to cross from Uzhgorod.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And I guess like I imagine that once hopefully this all finishes as soon as possible, your plans will be to return to Ukraine and carry on with the life
Yeah,
you was living.
yeah, that's my plan. I will go back.
Of course,
And
of course. And I'm
I
happy.
I like Ukraine too much. Life is inexpensive and they are very kind. But I understand that situation. Uh, but in one hand, I understand why they are acting like this toward foreigners. In other, the other hand, I don't understand why we are victim of racist. But first, I understand because they want to care about Ukrainians. First, for them, Ukrainians they are very important. But if it were in Africa, I think black people they will allow foreigner to cross the border first,
Hmm.
and they will not allow black people. It's like we care more about foreigners, but in Europe
Yeah.
it's not the same thing. It's the contrary.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm from Nigeria, right? Um,
Ah,
I,
yeah.
I was born in the UK, but I'm from Nigeria. And it's
Mhm,
exactly like you say, when a white person goes to Africa, we treat them like
mhm.
royalty, like kings. We really hold them in high
Yeah.
regards. However, as you mentioned in Europe, even though I was born in this country in the UK, I'm still, if a war happened in the UK tomorrow, probably the black and the Asian people would be like the last to receive food or whatever it is. And unfortunately, you're telling me about a situation that is universal, really, in the Western world. We are the unfortunately considered lower class citizens. I don't know what
Mhm,
I don't have the answers on racism and how we combat it. It's just about education, of course.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but one thing I would love to ask you as well, and you're not a politician, so I understand if you
No.
don't have the answer. But what do you think? Forget about racism now. What do you think needs to be done to make this stop? I mean, is there anything that the UK or America could do more to help Ukraine right now?
Okay. This is a difficult question because I've been watching news, and UK cannot send um, soldier in Ukraine because it's gonna be the third war. We know it,
Hmm.
and maybe I think it will be someone in Putin, maybe Putin groups, people, maybe someone will try to stop Putin. In that way, maybe war will stop. But I'm not, I don't think it's gonna be good idea to send soldiers, soldiers in Ukraine because, yeah, we're scared of third war because that's gonna be worst, just making things worse.
Exactly. No, I agree. And I think you're right. I think what needs to be done, which in the UK, I don't know how much familiar you're keeping up with the news here. For example, Chelsea, they was obviously owned by a Russian billionaire, Roman Abramovich. Now
Mhm.
he has had all his assets in the UK frozen. So basically what we are doing is sanctioning all the Russian billionaires, anybody close to Moscow
To
and
Putin.
Russia. So
Mhm.
hopefully, because we are actually affecting their income, it will make them go to him and be like, you need to do something. Obviously,
Yeah.
the price of fuel right now in the Western world is going sky high because a lot of the oil and the petrol comes from Russia. So it's a difficult time. And you mentioned World War III, but I think we already are in a World War III to a certain degree. Of course, it can get a lot worse than this, and we pray that it doesn't. But yeah, I'm not gonna ask you too many more questions about this situation because I really appreciate you even sharing time with me. Me and you, just for
Mhm.
everybody to know, we don't know each other personally that well. We met through a mutual friend, which is
Mhm.
great. So actually what I want to do now for the next couple of minutes before we finish is actually allow you to share a little bit about your business. Basically, Sylv is a French teacher. He has lessons not just in the Ukraine or in France. Some people
Mhm.
I know in London and in the UK also use him. So maybe tell the guys little bit what you have to offer. You don't have to talk about prices, but just
Yeah, okay.
just tell about your French style, your French lesson style, etc.
All right. So my French styles are based on comprehension and communications. So um, I can help people to learn French from scratch to intermediate level, and also I can guide you step by step with all resources you will need. So if you want to learn more about my style, you can check my website. It's www.speakfrenchwell.com, and then you will get all informations about my style, how the way I teach, and get some reviews from my students. So that's all.
No, perfect. Thank you. And what I'm going to do as well is below this podcast, I will have a link to your website so people can
Mhm.
go and check it out. I haven't
Yeah.
personally had a lesson yet, but I'm sure I will be very soon. I have a Paris hat on
Uh,
right now. Actually, I wanted to find that just to show you. But yeah, on a serious note, I really appreciate your time. This is a very sensitive situation. I even personally wasn't aware that your partner was still based in Ukraine. So even more, I really appreciate you sharing this story with me. We're all praying for Ukraine and everybody there, and we want this issue to resolve as soon as possible. I will definitely be keeping in touch with you to find out what's going on and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to, on behalf of me and my podcast and everybody watching and listening, really, really thank you for your time. And I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.